Hello. We think we have this. We always have technical difficulties. I'm Jonette Crowley, Grandmother Jonette, and this is our April Consciousness Update. Wow, what a month it is. We're calling this the consciousness of intention. And what I'm seeing is that for this month of April, well, forever, right? Um, really crystal clear clarity, a lot of alliteration there, is absolutely needed now. So what we're seeing, and I've had so many visions since the equinox, so I'm going to just share all of it so that you can really find your roots, find your centeredness in this change. So we're seeing a lot of disruption. Obviously, we're in 5 weeks of this Ukrainian war, COVID. There's financial insecurity. There's food insecurity in lots of parts of the world. Um, so the one thing to remember is that breakdowns always precede breakthroughs. And the vision I get is like there's a river and there's a lot of mud on the bottom of the river, but it's settled out. But now we're under a waterfall and all this crystal clear high water is pouring into the river, turning up all the mud, churning up all the turbulence, and everything we see is mud. And we're going, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart. Calm down. This crystal waterfall energy that's coming to earth, its job is to churn up the shadows, churn up the mud. And we just hold our position, knowing that this is all part of the cleansing. It's all part of what we need to see. And hold on to our crystal clear vision, our vision that this new energy is coming to earth. So on the equinox, March 20th, I did a trilogy. I did an initiation, and those are still on my website at jonettecrowley.com. We're doing 3 initiations for for this spring. The first one was on 2/22/2022. The most recent one was on the equinox. The next one's going to be actually March 15th, which is a lunar eclipse. But on the equinox, it's like this waterfall broke open and came rushing into our dimension. Then so much happened. So I want to tell you how I see it and where we are, where we're lifting. It's as if a gateway opened up. And oh, and the other thing that was happening around the equinox is a lot of solar storms. In fact, these unusual high frequency waves that they've discovered on the sun that are going, the sun's rotating one way and these waves are rippling another in the opposite direction. They've never seen them before. They first published about it on March 24th. So we're getting solar flares, plus we're getting this unusual high frequency waves from the sun. Then we have normal things that are happening on our earth. But here's a vision I'd like to invite you to. And I saw it's very clearly on the equinox, is that we've been going up these stair steps, and these stair steps go up a mountain. And these stair steps make up all of our lessons, all of our programs, and they're pretty consistent. People have gone up these stairs and they've told us what to do and what not to do. So we're going up the stairs and we've been duly growing in our ascension. And now we're at the top of the mountain. The stairs are no longer relevant. And we don't go back the stairs. Now we're asked to leap, to take out our wings and jump off the mountain. So everything we knew until now has been helpful getting us here. But we need this clarity of intention, because it's time to leap. The threshold I'm seeing people go through, I've never seen it so clear before. And I've never seen so many people, whether they're awake or not, being pushed through this last threshold. And we find ourselves on the top of something where we've never been before. So it's really important to have crystal clear intentions. And let's talk about intentions just for a moment. In the past, our intentions were filled with things, right? I want this. I want happiness. I want a partner. Things filled our intention. And I invite us now to let go of those things that we've intended for so long. And for this new threshold, to hold intentions that are based on state changes, consciousness changes. And I'm going to help you here. So these intentions have no words. They don't have pictures. They're not mental intentions. They are energy signatures, really. They are energy vibrations that go out from us. So we're going to actually do this together. We're going to move to this place of a strong, brilliant, clear intention that has nothing in it but clarity, happiness, love. It's a feeling. It's a space. It's a field. And we're not going to fill it with, oh, and by the way, I want a car. Okay? So an energy feeling of potential, unknown happiness, love. But before we get there, um, let's look at how we've gotten stuck in our old patterns. Oh, I don't really want to look at it. I want to just have us proclaim that we are at a new place, and all the things that served us as we were going dutifully up the steps are our old lessons. They are old programs, and we are claiming that we want a different world, a different life. Some call it a new earth, some call it the fifth dimension, some call it ascension. It doesn't matter what we call it, but we're beginning to feel it. And one of the things I've seen just in the last week is actually a magnificent change. What normally I see when I look at humans is our chakra systems, and they are more or less straight, more or less aligned, more or less, right? And our chakras, I'm told, they're still in our linear plane. They are still in the world where you develop up the stairs. And my guide Mark told me like 2 years ago that we were going to develop one chakra. All of these chakras would compress into one, and he calls it the solar heart. So it's the heart and the solar plexus right in between our heart and solar plexus, and it feels like a big golden sun disk. And I've been waiting for it, waiting for it. Sometimes I could find this solar heart open in me. But in the last 2 weeks, I've seen it as I've looked around you all of you who are growing spiritually. I could see that instead of having the linear polarity chakras, that it had coalesced into this beautiful, radiant heart ball of gold. And I could see you, I can see you as radiant beings from this single source. And that delighted me. I'm so excited. I'm seeing everyone as these radiant beings, all of a sudden empowered, clear, strong, centered. But then the most delightful thing I've seen, and this probably only in the last 4 days, so this really is a consciousness update for now, is these this radiant light that's coming from our solar hearts has opened up to this clear light. I'd like to say clear white light, but there's no white in it. It's this breathtakingly clear light that, and it's not really emanating from people, it just is. So in the beginning, I saw radiance coming from people's solar hearts, and now I see this clear beingness. And I'm feeling it. It does expand, but it doesn't have movement so much. And I'm seeing like my clear light is merging with someone next to me, their clear light. And from all over the earth, I'm seeing us stand in this new sort of power. I guess we're on top of this mountain and we're holding this clear light that is of a different dimension, and they're merging. And the merging continues and is creating a state change for humanity. That's really what it is, a state change, a consciousness shift for humanity. So what I'd like us to do, and it's about, again, the intention. I'm going to guide us through a very short exercise to find your solar heart, that radiant place of love, feeling that the linearity of your chakras, like for now, they don't go away, but for now, all of your power is in this beautiful center of you. And then we're going to feel it radiate out. And then there's going to be this moment of coalescing where the radiant light changes to this clarity of being. So join me as we set a clear intention for clarity, for a change of state for us and humanity. Find yourself in your solar heart. And the intention you hold is not a thinking intention. It is the intention of the space of this solar heart. Intend only this. Be this light. You, centered in your solar heart, and this intention are the same thing. You are the intention. Your power is coalescing in this now moment. The powerlessness of most intentions is they are in the future. We are in the state of the intention now, has no words. Just allow yourself to fall in it, be it. Be so present in your solar heart that all your beingness is here. Now you may feel that step that I talked about where you feel radiant, maybe like a sun disk or a sun yourself radiating from this center. And as we come to peace with that, we are so much in the moment that perhaps you can perceive that the radiation is in one world, but we are also aware of a world where there's no movement. And that is the place of this clear light of being that is a beautiful, big auric field of absolute clarity. So let your wishes, desires, fears evaporate. In this now moment, you are pure, clear light. And when you're ready, or maybe you can already feel it, you get a sense in the periphery of millions of other beings centered in their present intention, also being a clear light. And even though your focus is here in the now moment of you, you do get a sense in the periphery that these light fields of new consciousness are merging with each other. And the feeling you might get is of absolute neutrality. No opinion of what's good or bad. The peace of absolute neutrality. this space is either newly opened or the doors have been widened so more of us can find it. And I do believe it's showing impossible potentials, impossible that we couldn't even imagine from the past. What else I'm seeing as our frequencies leave the polarity and the dueling that happens in our polarized world, as we lift our consciousness to this pure neutral state and it expands, it becomes a force field that changes the existence of how Earth is now. The other major thing is finally this clear light space is the space that will allow us to connect to the higher dimensional beings in the inner earth and the higher dimensional star beings. When we had our very polarized consciousness, we were too crude, too heavy to actually join and merge consciousness with the high inner earth beings and the high star beings. So what I'm seeing now is the doors are much more widely opened into the inner earth and into the reconnection with nature and nature spirits, in that we are the consciousness of the flowers coming up. They're not separated. So in this springtime, I just see verdant life, and it's the aliveness of the flowers, the aliveness of the trees and the new lambs in a way that my consciousness couldn't see before. Um, so the veils are moving away. So you are more guided, you are more protected, we are more connected to the beings of nature, the great star beings. We are moving into a place that's less toxic so that we can be supported. So just in summary, hold wordless intentions not filled with things so that you can get to this clarity consciousness that really is a gateway, really is a threshold for us. And we've gone the old way up the steps to the top of the mountain, and now anything is possible. We leap, we fly, we look at the view and have a sandwich. We are at a place humanity has not been before. And I see that there's a synchronicity that happens, an evolution that happens much more quickly. So hold on to your hats, your halos, maybe I should say, because there a lot of changes happening underneath in consciousness, and you are part of this change, and this change has to change the world. Stay in your solar heart, the solar plexus, that golden radiant disc of love. That is the center of the new human. So what's coming up? I've got my next consciousness update is May Day, May 1st, which is a Sunday. Um, and do look on my website, jonettecrowley.com, for the initiation trilogy for this spring. We've got one more live, which will be May 15th, but please, please listen to the first two. They were extraordinary in every way, and they're going to give you a shortcut through all the barbed wire that is our lives, a shortcut up to the top of the mountain. And next weekend, I'm channeling Mark for my first weekend workshop of this year. It's called Ignite Your Truth, because this is the year of truth. This is the year of cutting away the clutter. Right now, I'm teaching it in German, well, translated in German. I don't speak German. Uh, but next week it will be in English. It's on my website, and not Ignite Your Truth. It's on Zoom and it's recorded. So it's next weekend at a time that's slightly inconvenient for those on the West Coast and slightly inconvenient for those in Europe, but it manages to allow people from North America, Europe, well, all over the world to join in. So Ignite Your Truth. Thank you for being part of this consciousness update. I hope the technology worked and you're with me, and want to end by just giving it's not a it's pretty powerful. Um, a grandmother blessing. And this comes from the higher dimensions. So put your left hand on your heart and your right hand out and receive. Thank you so much for being you, for being an integral part of the growth of humanity, of consciousness, of reconnection on earth, of nature. Thank you. We'll see you May Day, May 1st. Blessings.